Alright, here we are with going over charts and recapping the day today on July 14th. First starting with AMD. Firstly, I just want to make a point that you'll see me go through a lot of similar tickers. These are just ones that I like to trade. I might have an occasional different one once in a while. Not all are traded, but here we go. AMD. So AMD showed this support through the night. If I would have extended this zone right here, we could see that it does touch into today. It's where it bottomed out at, which is relatively close to the previous trading day Friday's low. But how did I play this one? Well, there were a couple of things I was keeping in mind. Obviously, you had this basing take place, but in that basing, I noticed this RSI oversold at this spot. And so one thing I was looking for was a potential RSI convergence. So if we would have had a lower low with a higher high RSI, could have been a possibility of going long. But actually on this one, that wasn't quite playing out the way I thought it was going to, because at the open, yes, you have this massive breakdown down past pre-market low, under VWAP, through this zone. But the challenge is that, if you notice, we started to get more in the blue here for the oversold, which one thing that I'm trying to do or trying to stay disciplined in is only taking convergence divergence plays when it holds below that 20 or that 80 or within that region on that higher high or lower low. But in this case, it goes back outside the 20 mark. So I waited. It started to climb back into here. The thing is that NVIDIA in particular, like if we look back at NVIDIA, it did something relatively similar, but it was just kind of holding in this space. It wasn't even reclaiming or breaking back out. It wasn't a failed breakdown, at least at the first part here. So I saw this and this rejection, and so I actually took a put here and saw this major candle take place. Again, this zone wasn't here when I was trading it, but I was thinking, you know what, I need to just take some green, because I was actually in a couple different plays at once. I needed to secure some profits. So I did actually secure AMD into this drop, which obviously we were in very oversold territory. Obviously reflecting back, that was a zone from the prior day or Friday's trading day that showed bounce, and then obviously we saw a bit of an increase here with the drop, and increase in volume with the drop, but then a pretty solid rebound here, and then obviously you can see just climbed all day again. Very similar to Friday's trading style, where it dropped into this zone, but then it reclaimed. I talked about this in my last video, and then it just is an all-day climber. So failed breakdown, again, failed breakdown, but it's just a subtle increase all throughout the day. Next, ARM. I didn't play ARM again because ARM's just feeling a little like the spreads are wide. Doesn't feel like there's much volume or play coming into it. Maybe some people are taking this. I don't know. I mean, if I would have taken this, again, because ARM's been weak, relatively weak, so in the semis, if I'm seeing weakness, then I'm thinking ARM as a go-to. But I just didn't do that today. I think it's because the spreads were just making me a little iffy lately. So it does take off downward into the open, comes into this zone, doesn't quite break it. I don't love taking plays in the zone, which I did make that mistake today. I think that will come up here in a little bit. But it does reclaim, or looks like it's going to kind of bounce or reclaim this. But then you see a previous day low rejection, pre-market low rejection, VWAP rejection, supply zone, because it now goes from demand to supply in that it broke down, it's showing rejection, so that demand became supply. I could have taken this if I wanted to put on that risk, and then probably would have had to have scalped it, into the zone, which kind of lines up with the previous zone that was placed there. But again, you see this breakdown, you see this consolidation. What to do? It just climbs all day. So, didn't love this one today, so I didn't take it. NVIDIA had a great climb on Friday, but then it started to come down, found support kind of in this zone, but then we saw right at the open this drop take place, very similar to AMD. I did actually take NVIDIA as well as AMD. I saw this massive candle break through this zone, closed below it, which was below pre-market low, under VWAP. For quite a while, when I say a while, I mean like a good solid couple of minutes, it came back up into this zone, and it was just kind of hovering here, like nothing was happening. It was just kind of sitting there, and I was thinking, this doesn't look like it's going to reclaim. So I took a put. Sure enough, capitalized on it down into the spike. Took profits, just trying to get some base hits here. Obviously didn't even go all the way down into that zone. I don't think that there was I never checked. I guess it was into this zone from Friday, which looks like it was a zone even further back. Maybe we can go a little further back here. Let's just do this one. It's fine. Yeah, see, so it was a low here. It was a low, or support here. So I guess that would have been a good tell there. So something to keep in mind for future reference, looking back at those levels. So back to it. Again, I did take this retest, this break and retest to the downside, took profits. Good thing I did, again, just like AMD, because it reclaimed and it just moved upward, and then obviously sideways movement through the day. Palantir, Palantir, it's a love-hate relationship with Palantir. I have some stocks I hate, I have some that I love. Palantir is one of those ones that's growing on me, but I love the price action. The spreads are looking decent. I mean, this looks like it could be one of those next daily traders for a lot of day traders out there. There's good volume. There's good price action. It's just I like it. So Palantir feels like one of those ones that is going to potentially be pretty bullish over time. It almost kind of reminds me of like the early stages of an NVIDIA or something, or I don't know, maybe even kind of feeling a little bit ARM-ish as well. I mean, these stocks were new businesses coming onto the market, or at least new to the market, and then you saw, some pops, but then fades into consolidations over long periods of time. And so you're starting to see this real growth start to take place with these contracts that they're getting and whatnot. Saw this spike, okay, off of this support zone, pre-market low, broke through pre-market high, over VWAP, up into this zone, and then had another good climb and retested. Here is part of the problem, is that, and this was my mistake today, I had a couple things going on here. One, when I'm looking for a break and a retest, I really should be looking for a break and close outside of the zone, above the zone with high volume. Obviously we had high volume here, so that was a good confirmation. Above VWAP, above yesterday's high. But the problem is it was still in this zone, and so when it came down, I was thinking of it as the retest. And so because it came into VWAP, it was holding. It was yesterday's high, or Friday's high, I should say. And so I took a call here. Well, I had my stop loss in place. Looked like it started to break out. It closed over the zone here. Looking bullish, looking good, but then comes back down. So as I was in this, I was thinking, okay, this one broke outside of this zone, but not this candle here. Maybe if I would have just been a little bit more patient, okay, I could have waited for this retest into VWAP, into this zone, have a 3-bar play right here, up, down, up, still again above the previous previous day's high. If I didn't say it already, VWAP. But the point being is that this was a good retest location. And even though these were about the same in terms of the underlying price, those options, the option that I was in, decayed just enough within this half-an-hour range to, you'll never guess it, bottom tick me out at my stop loss. Literally where this options contract was that I was in at this very low end of this candle, hit my stop loss, got me out. And then what does it do? It does its magic, as Palantir does. Kind of pops up a bit, fades sideways. I mean, we can stretch this out and see some of the peaks and valleys here, but then goes through the day, up, 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 all the way into the close. So that would have been a good over 100% through the day. I think I went back and looked at those contracts. Another thing here, though, that I need to be careful of is I actually hedged it a little bit with an RSI divergence play. Now, wasn't a great idea. I actually did get out of that when I started to see this big green candle, because I was thinking, okay, had a higher high, could have just been a fake out up outside that zone. We had a lower high on the RSI, but sure enough, what is part of the problem here? That higher high is still red in the overbought area above the 80. I think what I'm trying to do moving forward is, if I'm going to do an RSI play, to make sure that it's lower underneath or within the 20 to 80 range or zone, because this still feels relatively bullish here. Like, I need some price action where it's really looking like it's fading and dying off. I mean, even here it touches the 80, even though it's a higher high, but you can maybe scalp an RSI divergence play, but I'm not really looking to scalp. I want a intraday swing for bigger percentages, bigger plays. But sure enough, I was actually in my call with my stop loss. I took a small put hedge up in here, came down. The put was doing okay. My stop loss got hit on the call. I thought, you know what? If this thing bounces, I'm not going to sit in this hedge and just lose even more money. So once that stop hit, I thought, you know what? It's not really going down. It had this big green candle. I got out. It reclaimed VWAP. It was feeling strong. I mean, these candles that were going down, look at the volume. It's also decreasing. So it's not a good sign that there's follow through with strength to the downside. So sure enough, green steps in. You see all these green volume bars coming in with slight increases, even looking like there's a bit more volume than the previous red volume. Anyway, misplayed this one. Took a little loss on it, I guess.